What are you working on for Life Examine this week?
Oh shit. What am I doing for Life Examine this week? So I think for Life Examined, it's like this theme keeps emerging, this idea of like receptivity and space, meaning a lot of the folks who are on the journey with us are just coming to this idea, this realization that like being busy is actually fucking them up.
Yeah.
And just creating space. So I'm trying to figure out ways to lean into that more, go back to more resources that talk about that.
What do you mean by busy is like fucking them up? In terms of like the need to be busy or a busy mentality?
Both, yeah. The need to be busy for sure. And then a busy mentality as well, where it's just, it's like I always have to be doing something. And so since I always have to be doing something and I can't just be still, you can't necessarily connect to yourself that well.
Okay.
Because you're always busy. And so Jeff Spencer, I actually emailed him today. I'm going to try and get him as a guest on Life Examined because he talks about the idea of receptivity and just like how you don't have to fill your schedule with stuff. What you want to do is create this container, you know, so do the things that make you you, spend your time in the way that makes you you. And what happens is that puts you in a state of receptivity where you're then connected to yourself and you're connected to God or whatever your belief is, and you get the downloads at that point. But if you're so busy, you can never let your unconscious mind, you know, do its thing.
No, I love that.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like for our moms in the program, I also get curious like where we get our busy mentality from, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Sometimes I don't know if it's like something we've seen our own moms do, if it's like the way we feel like we gotta keep up in society, whether we see it on social media or making your name like in your profession. But
Yeah.
I mean, you've seen me personally, like when I stopped being so busy, I actually started doing more meaningful things.
Yeah.
Like it
could be, I mean, everybody's just operating out of fear, right? We talked about the other day, like climbing the consciousness ladder and going from, you know, fear and self-absorption to courage and service, right?
Yeah.
If you're going to climb that ladder. And so even though it's like, yeah, you're kind of an adult, but you're still stuck in this mode. You got fear of missing out. You got fear of not being enough.
Fear of providing.
Fear of do you have enough money, you know, which scarcity, which is a type of form of fear. And I think a lot of people too, this may sound counterintuitive, but like when you're busy running around doing everything for everybody else, it's actually a form of self-absorption. Because you're like, I have to feel good. I have to feel like I did the checklist. And if you can truly get into a place of service where you're like, dude, I'm just trying to, like, when you really understand and believe, hey, dude, I have a gift to give and I have to develop it and I have to, you know, pull it out of me to give to the world. Well, that's a place of service, and that's going to look a lot different than just finishing checklists every day. That's allowing yourself space to think. That's allowing yourself time to develop yourself. And that's why it's like, dude, for example, I know that I'm on point when I read and do something physical, right?
Yeah.
So when my workouts are on point, when I am reading consistently every single day, which fuels my brain and fuels more thoughts, and I'm doing something physical, which helps me distill those thoughts and work through them, you know, whether that's a workout, whether that's jujitsu, whether that's walking or running, or usually all three are required, then I'm firing on all cylinders and I show up best for everybody else. But what that requires is to create a bunch of boundaries.
Yeah.
Like, dude, I'm not going to answer Voxer 7 times a day. You know what I mean? I'm just not going to check my email.
I was going to say, I'm going to leave 3,000 emails unread.
Yeah, I'm just not going to do that, right? And I'm not doing that not because it's not, like it actually still I'm drawn to those things. Like
it's actually because we care about people.
But it's because we care, dude.
Yeah.
You know, and so I think the busy mentality is just kind of flowing from like fear of them not being enough, you know, scarcity, which is fear of not having enough if you don't do all of the things, and quite frankly, a little bit of self-absorption because it's like and I don't want you to take that word the wrong way. I'm not calling everybody self-absorbed, but like I have to be everything. Like, how will I look if I don't get it all done?
Well, that's what I was going to say. It's more about how are other people going to perceive
how are other, yeah.
If I'm not, quote unquote, using every single minute of the day to its absolute fullest or optimizing in every different way. And what you're saying is like, well, you have to optimize self.
You have to optimize self. And when you step into a place of true service, like, you will take some smoke for that.
Yeah.
You know, and so like, you will have haters. Like, if you're really operating at a higher vibration, there will be people who don't like that. That will make some people uncomfortable. And so to truly be in a place of service, you have to be okay with people not liking you, with people misrepresenting your ideas, with people misunderstanding you seemingly on purpose, right?
Yeah.
And so that's the concept I've been playing with, is just climbing that ascension ladder from fear, self-absorption, dependency, scarcity, and into a place of service and courage and living a bold life and being dependent. Because if, we're all dependent on each other, like, humans, like, we can't survive it alone.
Right.
But if I'm independently happy and content, I can show up in every single relationship more powerfully. But if my happiness and me being content requires you, and yours requires me, then our marriage is codependent. It's toxic.
I also feel like it's part, I don't know if this was why I was busy a lot, but it was instant gratification.
Oh yeah,
So
big time.
It gave me
big time.
Some type of quick dopamine hit, whether people would even be like, oh my gosh, Angie, you're so busy. I don't know how you do it all, right? And to be honest, that kind of drove me to want to continue to do more, because people are like, wow, she gets a lot done.
Right.
And really, the things I was getting done, it was the external gratification or instant gratification that I just didn't even need once I actually figured out practicing restraint, which I'm still practicing right now.
Yeah.
I said the other day, I think I need to tattoo it on my arm.
Restraint?
Practice restraint. Yes, because I am very much oh, that's a good idea, I'm gonna act on it. Oh, that's a great idea, I'm gonna act on that. Oh, that's not finished, I'm gonna do that, right? But when I've actually practiced slowing down, you've even seen it from me. I'm more peaceful, I'm more energized, I'm more creative. Like, I'm in flow state a lot more.
Right.
You know?
Right? Yeah. And it's like the best illustration of this is the retreat we did last year. And it's like, to me, and it sounds weird to say about your own work, but to me, like, the presentation specifically about social conditioning, but the Standards vs. Goals ones, one of the favorite things I've ever done.
Which, honestly, it was really good.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
But the way that it came to me and the way that it was downloaded was, it wasn't like I was hammering at the keyboard for hours and hours and hours, right? It was like reading, taking, highlighting one sentence from a book, going for a walk and thinking about that sentence, going to sleep and thinking about that sentence or that idea, and doing that over the course of months.
Right.
And, a month or so before the retreat, boom, all the work was done, the outline, all the slides was done in like 45 minutes. Like, it just came pouring out.
Yeah.
But the work was done ahead of time by putting myself in a state of receptivity, to think through the ideas, letting my unconscious mind work, process, like that whole deal, And during, I think by that point I was pretty well versed in this idea, but like the old me would have been like, what are you doing? Negative self-talk, you're lazy, you're procrastinating. You know what I mean? You should have a rough draft 90 days out, second draft 45 days out, you know what I mean? Like that sort of stuff. But that wouldn't have been quality work because it would have been forced.
Yeah. Well, sake of honesty, because this is just new for me that I've practiced restraint or, going inward. Last year I'm like, do you have anything done yet? I was like, are you gonna do anything with that? Remember? And you're like, it's all right, like, it's building for me.
Yeah.
And then it did just bust out in 45 minutes, but I didn't understand that. Like, I wasn't there yet.
Yeah.
And that's how sometimes it does look like on the surface, I think, for a lot of us. It's that matter of doing as a form of self-worth.
Yeah.
At least it was for me for a while.
Well, it's like not trusting yourself.
Yeah.
Not trusting the process. Right?
It was fear
Yeah.
of a lot of different things.
So-
That'd be a good topic to hone in on for Life Examine. I would.
I mean, that's the path we're going on. I'm just not, I mean, Dr. Jeff will talk about receptivity.
Yeah.
Or not receptivity, receivership. That's what he calls it, receivership.
Where's my tape?
Which is pretty cool. And I think we'll just keep kind of hammering different tools and different things along that path and just kind of make that the thing of the year, which is kind of, you are the, you as a whole, you're the receptacle for divine ideas, if you want to call it divine or whatever you want to call it. But if you don't build the container, by giving yourself space to think through things, by having a physically healthy body, by taking care of your environment, if you don't have the container, you're just not going to be able to receive all those ideas. You're not going to be able to pull them through,
Yeah. Well, and what would you say? I mean, I kind of know what's helped me, but like, how did you start giving yourself that space? When someone's so used to being on every minute of the day, sometimes it does feel weird just to sit there.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, just recently, right? Like my morning routine, it's condensed to like 1 page of reading with journaling and then 10 pages of reading. And then I just sit there and that's been enough of a good place for me to start. Where I'm like, okay, that was 45 minutes. Like maybe I can expand on that later. But how did you start it? Or how do you recommend?
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of just reverse engineering what I do naturally. You know what I mean? I've just never really been one to force things. That's just, call it a superpower, call it a gift, but like, I've always been able to pull things out of myself and not force them out of myself. And so essentially all I'm doing on Life Examined is reverse engineering what I do.
Yeah.
And then sharing what I've learned through people who have reinforced that idea. Because for a long time it was like, what's wrong with me? Like, why is everybody so driven? Why does everybody get things done? Why is everybody so seemingly on top of things? And I just literally can't get myself to do it.
Yeah.
And so, it kind of sucks to think something's wrong with you. So you try and like force yourself into a different way of being and you're like, okay, that's definitely not going to work. But then you start studying some, old wisdom texts, everything from the Bible to Aristotle, Socrates, The Art of War, all of them talk, and now Jeff and Nick and all these people in the modern day, they talk about the same thing.
Yeah.
Randy, they'll talk about the same thing, which is like, dude, they achieve massive things, but they don't do it by forcing things,
And by packing every minute of the day with something.
By packing every minute of the day.
You know what? I feel like I got a lot of moms in my world.
Yeah.
And we got our new 3 p.m. pickup,
Yeah.
which is different for us.
Yeah.
And the days I've gone by myself, what I've actually done is try to get there 15 minutes early. And I know a lot of moms in the carpool line have to get there early.
Yeah.
So it's not forever. But
Right.
I kind of use that time where I read in the morning and then I get there 15 minutes early and I sit in quiet. And that's when I actually reflect on the words from the morning. So
Yeah,
I'm still
good idea.
opening myself up to think further on it. And that's really helped too for me for like the receivership to like, okay, what can I just sit here and quiet and learn from that?
Yeah.
So that's like me trying to optimize time too, right? It's like I can back things up, give myself a little bit of space and time.
Yeah, for sure. It's called a forcing function.
Oh, a what?
A forcing function. So
I thought I was habit stacking. The habit of picking up my kids. Now I was stacking a habit of sitting quiet.
For sure.
Yeah.
for sure.
Well, tell me about forcing function.
It would just be like you kind of create structure in your day that puts you in that situation.
Got it.
So it's, you could say it a million different ways, but signing up for a photo shoot is a forcing function to get in shape.
Yeah.
Right? But putting yourself in the parking lot at 3 p.m., knowing you have X amount of time before the kids walk out, well, now you're there by yourself, so it's like a forcing function. Like, cool, now I can think through those thoughts.
Cool.
I mean, I guess in theory you could just get out your phone and scroll Instagram if you wanted to, but sounds like you're using that time intentionally, which is cool.
No, that's what I'm doing, right? Like, I generally would be scrolling while I was listening to a podcast, and I don't do anything.
Yeah.
But just sit there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, I haven't even listened to a ton of podcasts lately because I'm just rereading books that have already affected my life.
Yeah.
And, you know, coming back to the shit that I know is valid, taking it in a different way.
There's this podcast called Confident Bombshell you might like.
I listened to it yesterday. I listened to it, I'm like, and dude, my new iPhone, like the screen doesn't close. You see how you can see it?
Yeah.
So I'm like, and I was over at Los
Always?
Campeones.
It does
Always. So I was over at Los Campeones and I'm like, damn, everybody's gonna see I'm just jamming out some confident bombshells right now.
I love it.